So in the previous video, we have talked about house and the day they represent in the week, like which of the houses represent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on and so forth. We have talked about that in the previous video and how to practically use them in our readings. So in this one, we want to talk about house and their their period in a day, that is the period of the day, the house and the period of the day they represent. What do I mean by period of the day? Like the morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Which of the houses represent morning, afternoon, all those things? So houses and the period they represent in each of the day rather. So just like we have figure that represent day, houses also represent what days, which is part of what we explained in the previous video. Now the same things apply in geomancy. Figure represent a particular hours of the day or particular session of the day, like morning, afternoon, evening, and so on and so forth. Likewise, houses as well represent a particular session of the day. So I'm going to tell us the word, focus on the word, the house and the word, the particular section of the day they are referring or talking about. That is the particular section a particular house is talking about during the day. And I also tell us how to practically use them. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Like which house is talking about morning, which one is talking about afternoon, which one is talking about night, which of the houses of geometry talked about that. That's what I just explained now that I want to explain in this video. And I also notified us that figures also has particular section of the day they represent, but that might be a topic of another day. Let's just focus on the house and the days they represent. Now, and I also tell us how to practically use them. Now let's start from days. How are the house that represent morning? That is talking about morning. Sorry, morning. The house that represent morning, or the houses that represent day, as in day and not night. The houses that represent day and not day, morning, or you call it day, is house 14 of geometry chart. House 14 of what? House 14 House 14 of geometry chart represent day, while eight house 8 of a geometry house represent night. House 14 of a geometry chart represent what? Day, while house 8 represent night. While house 11 represent evening. House 11 represent evening. So house 14 that represent day can also be said that it represent morning, but house 14 generally represent day, as in day itself, day, while house 8 represent night itself. But to break it down, house 14 represent morning, from the morning to afternoon time, morning to afternoon, because house 11 comes in the evening. So house 11 talks about the evening time. So to break it into three, we have three sections of the day: morning, afternoon, and night. So the morning time is talking about house 14. But when you're talking about the complete day, like in day, day can also start from morning till, you understand, day, as in day. So house 14 talked about day. I hope you get it. But to break it down, it's talk about morning to afternoon. But if you say day, it's still talked about it. Now house 12 talk about night generally. While house 11 talk about evening time. Now there's this particular house as well, house 5. House 5 talks about any times of the day. Any times of the day as it's convenient for the a querent. Any times of the day. So now how do we practically use this particular thing? There are cases whereby we want to consult about which time of the day is something should be done. Which time of the day should something be done? Let's say you want to do a particular thing, maybe you want to go for a journey, or you want to go and meet somebody, or you want to go somewhere, and not asking that which part of the day should you go for that particular something. So now house 14 will be telling that you should go, how do you know? So we usually use the principle of domiro. You ask which part of the day can you go. Now you don't cast a child, your domino now fall in house 14, it means that you should go. Another thing is that if we fall in house 8, it's talked about 9. But there are cases whereby, just like I said when I was explaining days, days. Like I said, house represent day, figure represent day. But before you consider any of these houses, you need to consider figure first. Let's say a figure fall in house whatever, and that figure is now saying that that thing should be done in the morning. Maybe that morning is not convenient for you. You now check domiru, you now check the domiru of that chart. Domiru of that chart now fall in what? House 5, which is house of for any time. It means that what if you cannot do it at that particular, let's say, let me make it more practical. Let's say you are consulting about going for a journey. Now you now look at, maybe you have casted your chart. There's a standard way of knowing when to do a particular, but the basic way for everyone to understand is house level. Let's say you want to go for a journey. You now go to house 9, which is house of the journey. You now look at the figure there. The figure now say that, well, go in the evening time. Maybe you now look at your own schedule. You feel like, this evening time, you look at the figure there, it's not convenient for you. You then look at the domino. The domino now fall in any of these houses. Let's say it fall in house 5. It means that, well, you can do it anytime. You understand? But if fall in house 11, it means that, well, you can do it towards the evening. You first of all consider the figure that's the figure in that house of what coincided, the figure in that house of that which you are inquiring about. Let's say you are inquiring about journey, which is house 9. First of all consider the figure there. Each figure is now not convenient for you. It's not convenient for you to, maybe that time that figure is talking about. Then look at the word, the domino, what the domino says. You understand? But so I hope you have been able to learn one or two things here, and thank you very much for listening to the video from beginning to the end. Thank you very much. May God bless you miraculously.